Welcome to the Vietnamese Army YouTube channel. Today we bring you a discussion about the US's scheme to expand the war to North Vietnam. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last months of 1963, the Vietnam issue became increasingly pressing for US authorities. Facing continuous failures on the battlefield in South Vietnam, the US was forced to change horses midstream by supporting a coup that overthrew the puppet president Ngo Dinh Diem and his brother Ngo Dinh Nhu on November 1st, 1963. However, after the coup, the political situation in Saigon did not improve but worsened, becoming more chaotic. The new puppets continued to fight and overthrow one another, unable to resist the powerful offensives and uprisings from our military and people. Meanwhile, the revolutionary forces strengthened, expanded, and achieved many victories across various battlefields. The US decided to escalate the invasion of the South with a new strategy and initiated a campaign of sabotage against the North, which they viewed as the root and the support base for the Southern Revolution. Their aim was to destroy the socialist construction in the North, cut off Northern support to the South, and prevent foreign aid to the Vietnamese Revolution. In February 1964, President Johnson approved a 4-month trial program with 3 main objectives. The 34A Operation Plan included reconnaissance by U-2 strategic aircraft, the abduction of North Vietnamese citizens for intelligence purposes, the use of parachute sabotage teams, psychological warfare, and naval raids to disrupt railways and bridges. This plan was designed to increase pressure on Hanoi to order the Viet Cong guerrillas and the Pathet Lao to cease their activities. Air raids in Laos, gradually extending to the North Vietnamese border, were seen as the beginning of an all-out air war against North Vietnam. The De Soto Plan involved US destroyers patrolling the Gulf of Tonkin to display power, create psychological effects, and gather intelligence on North Vietnam's radar and defense positions, aiding the 34A operations and supporting South Vietnamese naval attacks on the North's coast. The US believed that North Vietnam would not dare attack American ships, and should Hanoi view these patrols as provocations, Washington was ready to respond swiftly. In essence, this was a display of force to provoke and justify a campaign of sabotage against North Vietnam. On April 17, 1964, the US Pacific Fleet Command proposed a plan to disrupt the strategic supply routes running along the Vietnam-Laos and Vietnam-Cambodia borders to halt Northern support to the south. This plan, called O-Plan 37, was to be implemented in 3 phases. 1. Pursue the Viet Cong across the Laos and Cambodia borders. 2. Bomb and mine key targets inside North Vietnam. 3. Intensify and continuously bombard the North. President Johnson directed the US State Department and the Department of Defense to draft a step-by-step plan combining political and military actions against North Vietnam. He also asked for a resolution seeking congressional approval to expand military operations in Indochina. Following Johnson's orders, the US Joint Chiefs of Staff approved a plan to use air and naval forces to strike 94 targets in North Vietnam, including 12 transportation hubs, warehouses, ports and docks, 9 airfields, 53 military zones, 8 industrial areas, and 12 reconnaissance air routes. The plan was set to unfold in 4 phases over 13 weeks. Phase 1, 3 weeks, continuous attacks on transportation routes and military zones south of the 20th parallel. Phase 2, 6 weeks, isolate North Vietnam by destroying rail links to China. Phase 3, 2 weeks, isolate North Vietnam by destroying warehouses, ports and storage facilities in Haiphong and Hanoi. Phase 4, 2 weeks, destroy all remaining industrial and mining targets. By gradually escalating the war with increasing scale and severity, the US used its Navy to blockade North Vietnam's ports, while its Air Force and Navy launched coastal raids and targeted inland objectives, searching for North Vietnamese naval bases to neutralize any resistance. They dropped naval mines and magnetic bombs to blockade river and seaport entrances, while equipping South Vietnamese naval forces to participate in the campaign against the North. With these plans, the US hoped that Hanoi would be forced to kneel within 2 to 6 months. By May 1964, the US had completed its plan for the sabotage campaign against the North. Air and naval bases near North Vietnam were fully prepared to receive orders, including the 7th Fleet, bases in Da Nang, Ubon Air Base in Thailand, and Guam in the Pacific. To carry out the planned air and naval strikes against the North, the US determined it needed a provocation campaign against North Vietnam to create a pretext, which they calculated could be best achieved under the De Soto Plan. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.